Welcome to All Things Mysterious, where we discuss supernatural, true crime, world mysteries, and the unexplained. I'm Jordan.
I'm Matt.
And we are your hosts. Welcome back. Listen, I had to go back into my episode because Matt got me distracted. Okay, so you've heard it on our intro. And finally, today, I have brought you a world mystery. Dun, dun, dun. Today...
I'm bored already.
Shut your face. Today we're going to talk about Atlantis. Is it real? Was it ever real?
I think finally you actually are coming with an episode that I might actually enjoy.
You enjoy all my episodes. That's a lie. I just make him really mad, actually. Yeah.
I'm just happy that there's going to be one day where I'm not going to go home mad. So
I thought I would give him a break from all the anger that I just rip out of him every single time that we record.
Plot twist. Atlantis is actually a boy that gets murdered in the middle of the woods or something.
Never to be found again. No, it's really about Plato's Atlantis. For real.
I know that somehow, some way you are going to turn the story around and it's going to make me angry. I just know it.
No anger today.
That's what you always say.
I don't intend to make you angry today. How about that?
Well, you know what they say about the road to hell.
Paved with good intentions. That's me. All right, well, we will start. Atlantis was supposedly a fictional island brought to fictional life by Plato between 427 to 347 BC, and I'm going to butcher this, in Timaeus and Critias, two written works in which he wrote the founders were half god, half human. The island was said to be powerful, and the inhabitants well ahead of their time in both technology and society. It was a wealthy society, and Plato always said that it was fictional, but many people believe that this place was actually real, and historians still search for evidence today that it actually existed. But here's the catch. This island, it supposedly sank due to an earthquake or a volcanic eruption, or both, making efforts to find it a little bit difficult, as you probably can imagine. The story of Atlantis is about power. The people there lived in a described utopia of peace. It was a naval island, a protector that ruled the world. But soon, they got greedy with power and lost a war. The gods got angry and supposedly, in one night, erased them from the face of the earth. That sounds about right, back in those times.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the ancient Greek gods. I mean, it's plausible if you base it on the Greek gods, because that's definitely something they would do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just look at them wrong, and back then, just poof, gone. You're dead. All of you are dead.
All I can think about when we talk about Atlantis is the old movie, the cartoon.
It was such a good movie,
it really
though.
Was.
It was so good. It's one of my favorites. But one of the things that I was thinking about most when I was making this episode is why are we still so obsessed with it? Because back then, it wasn't even one of the main places that he wrote about. It was actually just like a small subsection. It wasn't even like a main piece of his work. But apparently, people back then even just kind of caught on to it and just held on to that tiny little piece. And I think it's because it was a dream world to people. So I think people were just caught up in the fact that maybe there is this place that is a utopia. Maybe it really does exist. Maybe we could find that place. Maybe we could make it happen. And I think that people get caught up in the idea that there is a place that truly could exist that is a utopia. Of course, nowadays, a lot of people are obsessed with dystopia rather than utopia, myself included. I mean, we have works like The Hunger Games, and Oh gosh, my brain just went completely blank.
The Giver.
The Giver.
Um,
Oh, what's the other one that's got Theo James? I can't remember the other girl's name, but Theo James comes into my head because...
Divergent.
Yeah, Divergent. Thank you. That's the one. But anyway, those kind of things stick in our head. But back then, of course, when things were a lot harder to get to, I'm sure that living in hard times, it was a lot more fun to think about living in really good times.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at back then how, the afterlife, how it was set up. I mean, they definitely look for the utopia type stuff, but also, I mean, it's the same reason why we do what we do. I mean, the mystery of it all.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. I think it's the mystery because we as people want to investigate. We're drawn to things we don't understand.
You can't take my line and claim it as your own.
I can too, and I just did. I can too, and I just did. It's still written in my phone that I'm reading right now, Matthew.
I don't see nothing, so it doesn't exist.
Too dang bad. Too dang bad. I already did. So anyway, if it did exist back then, if we found it now, what secrets could we unfold? If it actually existed, what could we find? What could we learn? If they were so technologically advanced. So for a second, let's look at other places that we know exist and still question to this day.
Are we talking about Wakanda?
No, we're not talking about Wakanda.
But I mean,
Wakanda forever, don't get me wrong. However, I'm talking about the pyramids of Egypt.
Oh no, are we getting into aliens built the pyramids?
No, we're not getting into aliens built the pyramids. We're getting into the fact that, just recently, people have been looking into the fact that there might be more to the pyramids. We've been thinking about, okay, maybe the pyramids aren't just on the surface. Maybe they go deeper into the earth. And I mean, that's just to this day. And, stick with us here. We might do an episode on stuff like that, too. I mean, this is just our first world mystery. We got plenty coming, okay? But, other things like the Easter Island heads. For the longest time, everybody was like, yeah, they're heads. Until somebody was like, hold up a second. No, there's whole bodies underneath that. And how did they do that? With the technology that they had, they should not have been able to build those things. So,
I mean,
they were so far advanced for everything back then.
You take all technology away from us today. Well, I bet you we'd do some pretty great things. I mean, when you have nothing else to do.
If we had nothing else to do, I think all of us would die. If you took away our phones and our internet, I think most of us would starve to death and die.
Well, true. But what I'm saying
Let's just be honest.
When you don't have the distractions of internet and,
Without the internet, people probably couldn't even cook a chicken.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But, I mean, that's kind of which I don't want to get too much into that now because we might visit this in a future episode. But
that's entirely fair. And I would
the
like
pyramids, it's so degrading of us to think that just because it's an older civilization, they didn't have the modern technology, that they couldn't do these things.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I believe. I don't think that they didn't have modern technology. I believe that they had different technology.
They had laser cutters?
No, I think that they had something different that we don't understand.
I mean, possible.
Which is why it's so intriguing. Because we don't understand it.
They had aliens in their back pocket.
Maybe they did. I don't know. That's why it's so exciting. That's why it's mysterious. Which is why I think so many of us are drawn to Atlantis. We don't know about it. We don't know anything about it. And this idea of this utopia of peace that was this protector of all the worlds, right? That everybody was just drawn to, that Plato had described, right? So Atlantis, according to Plato, was supposed to be located just west of the Strait of Gibraltar which is basically the point where Africa meets Europe if you're like me and are horrible with geography because I had to look it up. So he describes it as an island larger than Asia Minor and Libya combined and situated just beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which many believe to be the Strait. But if we look elsewhere, we might find other options, such as the island of Thera, which is actually now Santorini, Greece. Around 1500 BC, there's record of a volcanic eruption taking place. And many people who believe that Thera actually was Atlantis are familiar with this destruction happening and know that this volcanic eruption didn't actually sink the island like Atlantis was supposed to have sank. But it did completely wipe out the island with a tsunami and the ash. So it wasn't actually Santorini. It was an island called, I'm going to butcher this. Please don't make fun of me.
Okay,
Akrotiri is my best pronunciation. I'm still better at pronouncing things than Matt. Akrotiri, I think. I probably should have looked this up beforehand. I didn't. I suck. I'm sorry. But it just disappeared in one night due to both the ash and the tsunami. So that checks out. One night, inhabitants, island basically gone. And it had a really flourishing economy. So more or less the timeline matches up.
One night can ruin your whole life.
It really can. It really can. And I'm going to say this, but it in more ways than one. You don't even know. Anyway.
I'm flashing back to my past now.
Yeah, that's accurate. Unfortunately, nothing else about this island really matches up with that description. So I'll leave you to think on that one.
Fail.
I don't believe this one, to be honest with you. I don't like this one for it. I don't like the location of it because it doesn't really match up location-wise. It's not over by the strait. It's not... Just location-wise, it doesn't make sense. The island didn't sink. I don't like it.
I mean, we're basing most of this on one person's story.
Mm-hmm. Which we kind of, in a way, have to, but...
Yeah, true.
You know.
But how many times has someone told you a story and they fabricated or changed some stuff around?
I mean, are we just playing that game that what was that, telephone back when we were little?
I mean, that's basically what we're doing. We're, so we can't exactly take the story of Atlantis that, Plato wrote about as 100% fact. Because he most definitely embellished.
That's the thing, though. Because, I mean, if it's real, yes. But if he did make it up,
yeah,
I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. We don't know.
But my point is that if it is based on a real story, if, Atlantis is based on a real civilization, not necessarily everything's going to match up with what Plato wrote about.
No, you are entirely true, but I have more.
I know I'm entirely true.
You're just annoying today. I mean, you're annoying every day, but you're annoying today.
That's my whole job on this podcast, though.
That's true. Actually, I think I even said that on the Facebook page the other day.
My job is tech support and to annoy you.
That really is your job, though.
Yeah, it really is. And it's a full-time job, too.
It is. It is. We work together, and you also provide tech support and annoy me there, too.
One of these days, I'll tell the story about how Jordan broke 3 headphones in one day.
All I did was exist, and they just broke.
All she did was touch them, and they died.
I don't know what I did. I just logged onto my computer, and everything stopped working. I didn't do it, okay? Okay, anyway, back to the story.
Focus, Jordan, focus.
About Atlantis.
Wrangle the squirrels.
Others believe that if Atlantis actually existed, and we have found it, that it was Sardinia, Italy. I probably also butchered that. Sorry. We know for sure that this island was occupied by people during that time, as pottery, cups, things like that have been discovered. And this island has a few things going for it that I actually really like. So
I hate it already.
Of course you do. the way that the pottery and everything that was left behind were found, they were found, like even weaponry was found just dropped in a heap. Everything was just dropped, appearing that everybody left in a massive rush. Which means...
Counter.
I have a counter in here too. Let me finish my thought, Matthew. Which means they had to bolt, which matches what Plato described. However, this could also be just a freak weather event or disaster.
So here's my counter. If it's all in a heap, like I assume that means it's in a pile.
Some of it was, some of it wasn't. It was in each household kind of like that.
If you were going to be running for your life, I don't think you're going to take the time to just start piling stuff in the center of the room.
It wasn't necessarily in a pile. It just looked like everyone was where they were and just like dropped everything as they went.
I take that as
that was poor writing. That was poor writing on my part. But like, if everyone was sitting kind of in like a circle, they just dropped what they were doing and bolted.
What the heck are they doing sitting in a circle?
I don't know. Having family dinner time.
So was there food left?
I'm pretty sure they could not tell if there was food left by that point because it's like 2,000 years old.
Or maybe it fossilized.
I don't know. I didn't look for that far into it. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not. Next, there were towers found all over the island, making it appear to be a place that was well watched over and guarded. So, this place, obviously we knew, was supposed to be, you know, very powerful.
Sardine Island?
Sardinia.
Sardine Island?
Sardinia, I think. I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing it horribly wrong. If we have listeners in Italy, I am so sorry. I'm probably butchering that like really bad.
We just lost all of our
We probably did. That or maybe we gained some so that they can come and correct me. I don't know. But anywho,
they're going to hate us like Florida and Texas.
We're just gaining haters all over the place. You know what, though? Come and hate us. That's fine. Come listen to us so that you can hate us. I enjoy it. Come hate us. Anywho, obviously, it was supposed to be well guarded, and there's towers all over the island that were really, really well made. Obviously, most of them, at least 5 or 6, still standing today, which is really impressive, by the way, because like nothing that we built now still stands. That's some really impressive work. So, if it was supposed to be very powerful, then obviously there would have been guard towers and stuff everywhere, I would think.
Or even if they were just a small civilization, they still would have guard towers.
I don't know. I liked it.
I mean, just because they're not powerful doesn't mean they're stupid.
Maybe. I don't know. I liked it. Okay.
I give this one a C.
There's one more.
I know.
No, there's one more fact on it.
Oh, okay.
There's another fact. Before you can give me a grade, I have one more little fact.
I revoked the C minus.
Okay, well, I'm sure you'll give me probably a C minus still, but whatever. Historians found jewelry and evidence of a widespread fire on the island.
Okay.
Fire could have been.
I thought they drowned, or the island sank.
It wasn't drowned. It was a volcanic eruption, or the island sank from an earthquake. I've sung him.
D plus.
D plus. I made it worse.
Mm-hmm. I mean, 'cause they're conflicting to me. Is, you know, there's evidence of fire, but then all their stuff was in a heap.
Well, maybe they left because of the fire.
Well, true, but then why?
Maybe there was a giant wildfire and everyone was like, panic, ran.
Why didn't everything burn down then?
Maybe it wasn't that bad of a fire and they just panicked.
But there's enough fire that there's evidence of it 2,000 years later?
I don't know. I don't know how science works. Science was not my subject in school. It was English. Thank you very much. I was an English and arts person.
And I honestly believe Atlantis, or at least want to believe the story of Atlantis. I just got to go against Jordan, so.
He goes against me in everything. It's exhausting. It's what makes for a great podcast, but it's exhausting, you guys.
Because here's the thing. Somebody out there is going to go against you. So
everybody's going to go against me.
I'm speaking for them.
Everybody's going to go against me. It's what you guys find fun, but it's okay because I'm stubborn and I'll fight right back. I don't care.
Is there another theory?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There's actually 2 more.
F minus.
Matthew.
Oh,
Okay.
just practicing. Sorry.
That's not practicing. Fine. I don't care for this theory, but whatever. I'll throw it in there anyway. Some believe that Atlantis existed in the South China Sea on a mountaintop island called Cyprus. In an NBC News article titled One Man's Mission to Find Atlantis, Robert Sarmast is quoted as saying, "Everything matches the descriptions in the dialogues of Atlantis to an uncanny degree." According to him, using deep-sea imagery and Plato's descriptions, they found a rectangular landmass sunken deep in the sea off the island of Cyprus, which could have been proof of Atlantis' existence. However, Cyprus was mentioned in other works of Plato's time, and he specifically mentioned Atlantis being in the Atlantic Ocean. So, I feel like it's not the most solid of theories. But let me tell you, Robert Sarmast is very convinced. But the only real proof that he has is that everything matches the descriptions to a T.
I mean, you can make anything fit anything you want, so.
And that's kind of where I sit with it too. Like everything might match, but you don't really have any other proof of anything.
Yeah, I mean, that is just.
And the fact that there was a rectangular landmass sunken. But they haven't really done any digging into it that I could tell. They haven't found anything in that landmass that's proof of anything yet. I mean, if they do more digging and they find something in it, great, cool, amazing. I would love to learn more about it. But I couldn't find anything of interest in the landmass.
I mean,
if they found something.
Going back to Plato, like you said, obviously a lot of his works included Cyprus, and he talked about it a lot. Mm-hmm. Cyprus, even in some of the old, Greek mythology stories and stuff, Cyprus is was a point in some of them. So Cyprus was a known, it wasn't an unknown force in this.
No,
in that time.
It definitely wasn't. I have to agree with you. So
if for and even not taking into account, let's get rid of the fact that he said it was in the Atlantic Ocean. Let's ignore that for just a second.
Well, in my opinion, other things just don't quite match up with it.
That's my problem with it, is that the fact that if Atlantis was in Cyprus, he would have mentioned that.
And it doesn't have any sort of strait nearby. I don't see where any pillars of Hercules are going to be. Because there's, the other 2 islands, at least, are remotely close to a strait. The Strait of Gibraltar or another strait by Spain. But there's no strait right there that I could find. There's nothing similar to it, or at least nothing that I could find.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's never been a strait there.
It doesn't, and you're correct. But I just couldn't find something that made sense of that, and it seemed something that was very pertinent to the location. Now, does that mean that it is? No, but that's how we interpreted it.
I'm going to give that one an F.
That's fair, because honestly, I also feel like it's kind of an F, but it was worthy of throwing in. It was.
I would have left it out.
Too dang bad. I wanted to throw it in there because I have one last one for you.
Wow me.
I will wow you, as a matter of fact.
You haven't yet.
Scientists found evidence of what's left of a submerged site just north of Cadiz, Spain, around 2009. 60 miles inland. I put 2009 and 60 too close together. Here's the thing. Now Matt's going to laugh at me.
I really am.
I can't read my own work. Okay, so it's not an island, but it's built in almost a perfect circle. And with the help of ground-penetrating radar and sonar and modern technology, it looks as though the city was built in a ring shape with circles going outward. But it didn't appear as though the people died there. It looked like they fled. Don't ask me how they know that. I'm trusting science because I don't understand it. Okay? I don't understand science. I'm not a science person. I will look into the science, but I don't understand it.
Your description totally did not help you in this.
Why? Matthew.
Yeah, all right.
It's circular, right? It's an inlet. Think of almost like a bullseye, like a target. Is almost how it's built.
Maybe it was the first target.
Maybe it was the first target. I don't know, but that's really what it looked like. It looked really cool, to be honest with you. So, they believe the pillars of Hercules that were described by Plato, if this was Atlantis, were pillars that you came in through as you came in the inlet to go in.
I'm listening.
No, you're going to laugh at me is what you're going to do. Because you're a child.
I really am.
He's a child. Anywho, they also believe that it was taken out by a tsunami. So, apparently, not even a half man, half god could conquer a tsunami, which is probably fair because tsunamis are pretty dang powerful.
So, the moral of the story is that it got too wet and it died.
I cannot even with you, Matthew.
Oh my god.
A giant tidal wave took out the freaking place. But there's enough of it left that they could still discover the ruins. I can't with you, and I'm going to be serious. Because you are a child. Men don't grow up. Swear to God.
I promise you, and in fact, I want everybody that's listening to this to comment on the Facebook page.
Don't do it.
Everybody that thinks exactly
No.
what I'm thinking. We're gonna have a poll.
No, we're not going to have a poll because Matthew has a dirty, awful mind. And I am being an adult and Matthew is not.
I'm never an adult.
No, you're not an adult. Jesus Christ. Anyway, they are fairly certain that if they ever found Atlantis, that this was it. However, they don't have any solid proof that it's actually Atlantis.
True.
It's not like they titled everything that sat there like, this was Atlantis, this was it.
The theory itself, I'll give a B.
Ooh.
Your delivery, I'll give an A.
I just slipped up for 0.2 seconds, dang it.
That's all that it took.
Matthew! I can't win.
No, you really can't.
I can't win with you.
The game is rigged against you.
It is rigged. One tiny slip up. I should have changed it to 2010 because it was unclear whether it was 2009 or 2010 that they freaking discovered the stupid thing.
One choice of using 2009.
It was one stupid choice and I slipped up for 0.3 seconds.
And now this is recorded, so it's going to be...
You know what? It's fine. Release it. I don't care.
I think that's going to be the first video we're going to release on TikTok.
I don't even care. I don't care. Anywho, obviously, Atlantis is still a mystery to this day. Whether it was fictional only, whether it actually existed. I prefer to think that it was real.
Yeah.
I like the mystery. I like to think that it really was real and that Plato wanted to keep it for himself. And then people caught on. I don't know.
I mean, so obviously, like, there's so many places, you know, in history that have been lost or are, you know, thought to have been lost.
It's entirely true.
Like, for instance, the fountain of youth.
That would be a cool episode to do.
Coming soon.
I'll let you do that one. It's hard finding information on places that did or did not exist.
But my point is that there's so many stories, you know, and pretty much every culture probably has some kind of story of some, place that has disappeared.
Yeah, a mythical place that did or did not exist in real life.
Now, here's the part that, out of all the knowledge we have, out of everything that we've learned, over the time that humans have been on this earth, we know very little about, our world and what it was like. So
True.
for us to say that something like that couldn't have existed is just wrong, because we don't know. I mean, plain and simple, we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the things that we're still uncovering today. I mean, we still haven't explored how much of the ocean?
I mean, I think it was like we explored like 10% total.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's still so much of the world and the ocean that we haven't explored, let alone things that we still are unable to understand. So it's ridiculous to think that we can understand everything that we are presented with now. So surely there are things that we can't possibly understand at this point, and there's got to be things that we have yet to discover and just can't understand yet.
Oh yeah, there totally is. I mean, and at the very least, the idea of Atlantis is just one that just captivates everyone. I mean, I remember telling my story, or my girls, a story about Atlantis, when they were younger. And it's probably one of their favorites just because it is such a good story.
Well, it's fascinating. Yeah. And it's such a good, I'm going to say it's a good metaphor for, don't take too much greed, don't take too much power, be humble. It's a good story.
Yeah, and then on the other end of it, there's the, that even in the face of certain death, humans can still persevere and survive.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
They basically went from a no-win situation to supposedly, being a powerhouse civilization that's all alone and doesn't have to deal with anybody else, which sounds pretty good these days. But
it does. I have to agree with you.
I mean, it is a good story. Now,
oh no.
Do I honestly believe that it still exists today? Probably not.
I think maybe we'll find tiny remnants if we ever discover it now, especially if it's true that it was an island and it truly did go under, because that's going to be difficult to discover.
I mean, because, I do think that probably at one point Atlantis probably did exist. Maybe not in the full, context of the story and, all the legends that have came from it. But I do think that it probably existed at some point.
Well, and sometimes I wonder if Atlantis existed, but it wasn't necessarily called Atlantis, and we just think it was something different.
Could have been.
Atlantis
is such a cool name, though.
Oh, it is such a cool name, though. It is. I don't know. It's got such a unique quality to it. It's got so much power just in the name.
And I mean, it kind of fits with.
It's mythical and mysterious, and
definitely fits with Greek mythology.
It does. It does.
So, I don't know. I think it's going to be a mystery forever.
Always a mystery. Always. Well, thank you guys for listening to this lovely episode of All Things Mysterious. You can find links to all of our social media below for information on where to listen to all of our podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel that you can find. As always, here at All Things Mysterious,
we'll keep you guessing.